In this video, we're going to go over how to read API documentation for complete beginners. Maybe you're trying to use the Stripe API or Twilio or whatever, and you're trying to just figure out how to read this documentation. It's causing you a lot of stress. No worries. This is perfect for you. We're going to be talking about how you get through this. But before we even go into the documentation, we're going to break down how you're going to get ready to read the documentation. First of all, what in the world is an API? What does it stand for? API stands for Application Programming Interface. And what is an API? An API is a tool to talk to other systems to get information. That's it. And you've probably seen something like it. Maybe you didn't even know that you were seeing, you could learn about APIs just by on Google, right? So if I say, I like pie, come up. And in the header where I'm asking Google, this section right here, I can now get a lot of information of calling to Google to ask, I like pie, and it's giving me results right here. I like pie, bake shop. So they're giving me results. The same way, when you're using APIs and you're making a call, you're asking the system to give you information. That's the basics. We're going to review now, as you're using the API documentation, what you need to do in order to get the information that you want. Let's give a quick example, and then we're going to go into the documentation. Imagine that you're in a library and you're going to the librarian at the desk and you're saying, I'm looking for a book about dogs, and it's a certain breed. The librarian then goes, finds that book, brings it back, opens the book, and points to the exact type of breed that you're looking for. That's what you're doing when you're asking, or you're doing an API call. You're asking for something very specific. The librarian's coming back, giving you that information. The second example, if you're thinking about a magnet, and when you're using a magnet, it's attracting very specific types of metal to the magnet. The same thing with the API. As you're asking certain things, it's attracting what you're asking, and you're going to get the results you're looking for. That sounds great, but now how does that apply in API documentation? How are we going to look at this? Let's go through this example. Now, we're going to look at a very straightforward API, and we're going to look at this Star Wars API. Before we get in there, we're going to go over some questions. What is my intention? What do you want to accomplish? This is really important because when you're looking at API documentation, it's really easy to get caught in the weeds. You can be looking all over, and if you don't know what you're looking for, it can be very overwhelming. So what is your intention? What do you want to accomplish? The next part, what do you want to happen? Write down like a workflow or a short story of what you would like to be able to accomplish using the API documentation. Okay, so for example, if I want to use eBay, I want to have eBay API documentation, and I want to find a certain category. Maybe I'm trying to look for Pokemon cards. And from Pokemon cards, then I want to display that information or put it into a Google Sheet or put that into an Airtable and a table base. Maybe I want that. Okay, so how can we break that down? The first thing is I want to use eBay. Does eBay have API documentation, or can I make calls with eBay? That's the first thing. I would then go search that. Then from there, I would look, okay, what does eBay allow me to get? What kind of information can I get for my project or my service or my business? That's how you would then be able to navigate what you need to get with APIs. Let's go for an example. We're going to be now using the Star Wars API, and we're going to go through this example. We're going to look for the information and try to find if we can get a movie. The first movie, A New Hope. Okay, first we're at the documentation. This is great. Let's take a look. Remember, we talked about at the beginning when we're making a call, just like Google, when we're asking them a question and we get that URL, that web browser address, the same way when we go into this documentation, to make a call, there's going to be a route. There's going to be something that we can grab it from. Now, if we drop down here, it's a base URL. That is where we're making the API call. It has to talk to that root. Now, to get very specific information, we now almost have to use it like cooking. You're adding, different ingredients, or a fighting game, you're doing more combos. We're going to be adding something. Now, remember, I said I'm looking for the first movie. So now that I know that there's a base URL, can I find the first movie? Can I make that kind of call? I'm going to go to resources. Now, resources, it allows me to see what I can gather. It says films right here. It says a film resource is a single film. So if I put in an example, I still have my root URL right here. I can say, I can have my root /films/1. Now I can pull information from the first movie, A New Hope. I can get all of this information. Now, don't worry, we'll talk about it in another video, how we organize it, grab all of this information. This is just so we understand first, if we make a call, what kind of information will we get back? We're looking for the first movie. We're looking for that first film. We can get it right here. And also the endpoints, it's telling me I can get all the film's resources. I can get a specific film resource if I use the ending point here. Excellent. Next thing, I'm looking for a specific character. I'm looking for Luke Skywalker. Can I find a specific character? Well, again, if I scroll up and I go to the resource section on the left-hand side, can I look for people? Yes, I can. People. Right here, I can look for a certain person. And so if I do this, I have my root and then /people/1. Right here, I can get all of this information and look who I found, Luke Skywalker. Now, you might be saying, hey, Doc, yeah, that's great. You just showed me those things. But what if I wanted to search? Can I do a call where I can search? Again, you look at what the documentation says. Right here where it says get started on the left-hand side, down below it says searching, and now it shows me the endpoints how I would search. Now, if you look at this right here, it says our root /people/ it says question mark, search. Now, that looks awfully familiar when I am looking for something, that question mark, look at that question mark, Q equals, and now I plus like plus pi. Right here, it's the same exact format. So it's allowing me to see when I need to search, I can look for this. I am going to be looking through people. I am going to be searching for R2. Then it's going to see if I can find that person. This is the building blocks of how you can be using API documentation. Now, there are, just to keep in mind, documentation for every single, open API that you have access to, the documentation is going to be very different. If you look at Stripe versus Twilio, it still might be, some might be more complicated, might give you some more information, but keep in mind, you want to look at something basic. You want to first remember, what is my intention? What do I want to happen? So you can then go and find in the documentation to relate to what you're looking to do. This is a concept. This helps you to start to go through documentation with purpose. This still takes time to get good at it. So what I want you to do is, in the comment section down below, let me know what sections make sense. What do you need help with? What are you working on? What kind of API documentation are you trying to use? What is going right? What are you trying to find? But remember, you can be using this as a guide. In fact, there's going to be a link down below. You can actually see this guide and start using it. And this is the beginning, how to read API documentation for complete beginners. There's another video for how to make API calls. Once you understand and find the exact URL or the right call that you want, there's a whole process how you make that call. But it's important first to understand what you're looking at in the document. So you don't want to go 0 to 100 of, hey, I just want this to be called. You have to first understand, what are you looking to do with this documentation? Write those details down, And then afterwards, we're going to be talking about how you make those calls. Now, if this is something you're interested in, we actually have APIs for complete beginners. It's a full resource guide, and it spans not only how to read the API documentation, we talk about beginner key concepts, we go through beginner projects, and also we have how to use APIs, a curated search engine, because if you're using Airtable, if you're using Softer, Google Developer Console, if you're using a Google Cloud Platform, the list goes on and on. Pipedream, Integromat, Zapier, it all depends. And so we have different examples to make sure that you're utilizing APIs the right way. This is the way of the future. There's so many things you can be doing with APIs, and we're here to help you get started if you're a no-coder or using this in your business. So let me know if this is helpful, if you want to see more videos like this, and make sure in the comment section down below, let me know what you're working on, and I will see you in the next video.